Today on episode 2 of Pennsylvania Veterans Forward, broadcasting from the 2022 Pennsylvania Veterans of Foreign Wars State Convention in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, we have Brian and Wally from the VFW Riders Group. District 30 Commander Melody Price is here. District 29 Commander Jessica King. Outgoing State Commander Nathaniel Smith is here. Special guest VFW Legislative Chairman and Outgoing District 28 Commander Jim Brown. The incoming State Commander Henry Mannella is also with us. And the newly elected VFW Auxiliary President Valerie DeCorte is with us as well. We are excited to have you here from the show, and it is going to be a really great convention. Thanks for listening. Well, ladies and gentlemen, and veterans and friends, our next guests, very special guests. We got some really great folks here on the show. I'm John Otte. I'd like to welcome our next guest here is Mr. Brian Armstrong from Post 8429 in Hermione, and Wally Paciorkowski. That's close enough. I told Wally I was going to mess that up from the beginning. Post 6675, both really honorable men, really great guys. Great to have both of you here on the show. I want to talk a little bit about first with you, Brian. Brian is the post commander of 8429. He has an incredible story. It's almost a story of bar rescue. We commonly refer to it as VFW rescue. And just an incredible, you've been how long the post commander there?
I'm working on my fourth year.
Fourth year. Fascinating story when Brian and I first met, when he told me about what he had done with it. Tell me a little bit about how you rescued, literally, that VFW.
Well, I'd been a member of the VFW at large. I never claimed a post. Traveling, which we'll talk about later, motorcycles, been all across the country, been to VFWs from Connecticut down to Florida to California. I've been in a lot of different VFWs. And my local VFW, however, I didn't drink in town. Right. So I never went to that VFW. I went to other VFWs, but one day my neighbor, who was auxiliary, she came, she waved me down. I just worked a night turn shift, and she's like, "Can I talk to you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, what's going on?" And she goes, "You got to go down to the VFW. They need help." And I'm like, "I've never been down there," and literally it's not even 3 miles from my house. So I'm like, all right, I'll go see what's going on. And she didn't elaborate on anything. So based on my experience with VFWs and I had a certain idea in mind what I was walking into. Went to my post, went to the post, had to hit the ringer because I didn't have a key card because sure. I was a member at large, and I walked in and they buzzed me in. I walked in and I'm looking around and I'm like, this doesn't even look like a VFW. It looks like a sports bar. And went up to the bartender, showed my card, and she gave me a drink, and that was that. No conversation. As I sat there and I'm looking at the walls and I'm looking at things, I'm looking at the other people in around the canteen, really kind of bothered me. It didn't feel like a VFW. It felt like a sports bar and not a home for veterans.
Yeah.
Or for me, to be honest with you. I watched, I spent about 2 hours there. Left. As I was walking out, I saw when they were going to have their next meeting. Like, well, I went into work the next day, asked for that day off, and went to the meeting, and that started basically my own little private campaign for that post. And one of the first projects I did was I put together a POW MIA table.
Great.
Real nice table. Had the logo. I put a spotlight onto the table and the logo. And again, the guys at the time, they were just concerned with paying the bills. They weren't really the board members looking at recruiting and bringing in veterans into the post. And so I was at our monthly meeting and I was talking to these guys. I'm like, and there was a big age gap. And a lot of them were Vietnam era guys, which I can relate to. My father, my uncles, I come from a long line of veterans, combat veterans. And so I could talk to these guys and I'm like, listen, if you want to bring in the younger guys, you got to change it up. You got to make them walk in and feel like this is their home, their place, not a sports bar. They can go to a sports bar down the road. Okay?
Yeah.
And at the time, I didn't hold a position within the post. However, the guys let me do my thing. And I started acquiring things and hanging it up on the wall. And when I say things, I basically... anything military, regardless of branch of service, regardless of time period, I put it up on the wall, and that built into something.
That's absolutely fantastic. I mean, when you told me that the post was on its last legs, right? I mean, it was kind of like almost on life support, and you had a vision. You really had a vision for that, and said this could be something. It could be a sanctuary, I think it said, someplace where it was a safe space for veterans to go and things like that. Just a fascinating story. What would you think was your biggest challenge? Because I mean, your post is one of the most thriving posts in the state of Pennsylvania and probably in the system now. I mean, you've really turned it around that drastically. What would you say was one of your biggest challenges in doing so?
Actually bringing in younger guys. So that old saying, put your money where your mouth is, or however you say. So what I was trying to convince the older guys, hey, let me make this look like a veteran's home or a veteran's man cave. So if you're in the Navy, you walk in, you see something Navy. If you're in the Army, you served in the Army, you see something Army. So and my selling point was, I guarantee if we start doing this, just let me do my thing. I'm going to do it right. We're going to bring in young guys. And that was the big hurdle. So once I got to the point where when a veteran would walk in there, you felt like it was like your man cave. You felt like you were at home. That brought in the young guys. You bring in one or two young guys, they're going to bring their friends or other young veterans. And that just, once that all happened, it was game on.
Yeah.
And it's not just one thing. He's got entire walls full of, like, this wall is for the Marine Corps, this wall is for the Army. So it looks really nice.
Now the Navy and the Air Force have stuff too.
They do.
Yes, they do.
Is it more hotel ratings? You've got the hotel ratings for the Air Force and the Navy on the wall.
Yeah.
Yelp reviews.
Yeah. So
Yelp reviews.
So that process took on all the way up to COVID. Okay, so when COVID hit, obviously we were shut down, and I took the opportunity, and we had the money to start remodeling. Mm-hmm. So part of that, it was like pulling up the carpet and sealing tiles, and that's when I was approached and had conversations. Hey, do you want to be the commander? Do you want to be the senior vice commander? And at that point, during COVID, we had the money and the opportunity to even do more remodeling. So during that process, I acquired more military things.
Sure.
And I basically turned it into a small version of a museum.
And that's really fantastic, and that's important when I know I've visited over 300 posts in the state myself, as part of the state membership team and traveling with the leadership team over the few years. And when you go into post, you can almost, those that have the memorabilia on the wall, it makes you feel like when you would go to an NCO club or a lower enlisted club, right? Yes. And you'd go in and you just felt it at home, right? But the importance of the importance of seeking, as you mentioned, seeking younger veterans, bringing younger veterans into the organization, is in fact going to sustain then the organization itself. Did you? I think I remember you saying you took your post non-smoking.
Yes. Again, during COVID, and that's when I actually became the post commander. We went non-smoking, and my mindset at the time was that's going to bring in younger veterans, because the guys that recently from Afghanistan and Iraq, they're going to have families, they're going to have small kids. Their wife is not going to be happy with them hanging out at a smoky bar type atmosphere. So at that point, and it was a unanimous decision, we decided to go non-smoking. And a very, very short time after that, that's when more younger vets started coming in. So one of the obstacles with that was answering to everybody else that was used to the old way of doing things. Meaning the social members and just guys that have been there forever. And one of the things I said and pushed was, okay, well, what have you done for me lately to make this post the best post it possibly could be? And they couldn't answer it. So I pushed forward in spite of all the negativity with the non-smoking, and subsequently my membership increased a lot. I started getting families that wanted to come down to the VFW, and I started getting those younger vets that were coming in.
Yeah, that's critically important, because some of the posts that have been smoking for a long time, the older veterans, they're veterans that have been there for quite a while. They didn't want to do that. And they always said, well, we're going to lose people. People aren't going to come back. What was your experience?
So I had a dip with people coming in, but it was my social members. My veterans, they adjusted, as veterans do. They adjusted to it. They went outside and had their cigarette, The social members that were saying, oh, I'm never coming back, within 2-3 weeks, they were coming back. So, again, being a Marine, or generally a veteran, when we have a mission or we have a idea how to move forward, we're going to do that regardless of what the obstacles are. And ultimately, it was a very sound decision to go non-smoking, and the rewards, I have them now,
Yeah, you get to see what they always say that you're going to lose folks. They're going to come back. They're going to come back tenfold. What was the percentage of the younger membership that you after you went non-smoking? Did you see like a hockey stick, rise in younger members?
Well, yes. Within a short period of time, I mean, I probably, one night I walked in and I was looking, I had 10 veterans that were all under the age of 30. And I'm like, well, that's the way to do it right there. We're doing something right that I'm bringing them in.
Yeah. Well, they got families, they don't want to take their kids or their wife,
right,
to a dirty bar that's full of smoke.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. That's well, it's been great. You have one of the best posts, I think, in the system that's revitalizing. So folks, if you're a post commander, district commander, or you're looking to transition, I'm gonna put Brian on the spot here. Brian Armstrong, we'll put you in touch with Brian. And he can, we may even do some videos with you, Brian, and, hey, this is how you do, or this is, these are the things you want to look for, or these are the best practices, and stuff like that. So it's great. You had a great vision, and it really has transition paid off. What I'd like to do now is I'd like to transition to the VFW Riders Group. So both you and Wally here are in the district. Well, you're District 27 and Wally's District 29, right?
Correct.
Okay, that's great. So the VFW Riders Group, in the state of Pennsylvania, it was once thriving, and then it kind of has, it fell off a little bit. The membership and the membership kind of just roll off. Maybe the leadership in the state as it transitioned now has said, this is a priority, right? So talk about, so you're the co-chairman, the current state co-chairman of the Riders Group. Tell me a little bit about what the Riders Group is and kind of what it means to you.
So the VFW Riders Group is basically a group of people, like-minded, that get together and ride their motorcycles. Under the VFW, basically they're supporting the VFW, veterans, and charities, as well as community service. The VFW Riders Group is generally consists of your regular members of the VFW, meaning your members that qualify by the VFW standards, supported by your auxiliary and your social members. Awesome.
And that's, how did you, Wally, and you brought you got into the Riders Group as well, right? It's, and it's just recently your chapter. How many your chapter started? Was 29 first or 27?
I think 29 was first. We were approached by the state. Brian was, and Commander Smith was basically like, hey, I'd like to get this Riders Group going. At the time, I think you had a lot on your plate.
Yeah, I had a lot going on, and I've known Wally in the motorcycle world, and when I was basically approached by Commander Smith in discussions about the Riders Group, and I said, he asked for help. I said I would do it, and I didn't even start my own district Riders Group first. I'm like, well, I know Wally. Okay, right. He's in Pittsburgh, Allegheny County, which is where Pittsburgh is located. Within that, has a ton of veterans, and looking at the VFW and looking how to grow the Riders Group, it made more sense for me to get that started first,
sure,
before I concentrate on my own district. Plus, work out all the kinks.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, here, Wally, go figure it out, and then when you get it, let me know, and I'll just fall in line.
It wasn't that bad.
Well, I'll tell you, you both of you have done an incredible job getting those Riders Group together, and it's really. It started with 29, started out in the West and with 27. And now I understand that we have District 9, which is Lancaster County, and some of the, more towards the eastern state. What are some of the activities that you have planned for the Riders Group as a coach? What are kind of the state plans, right? Larger plans for the group.
So looking down the road, because like you said earlier, the Riders Group program kind of fell to the wayside with the VFW in the state, and it's been under the leadership of Commander Smith revised. And so down the road, our goal is to actually have a Riders Group convention where we meet and look at what we're doing to expand the organization and to support the VFW and the different causes that the VFW supports. With that mindset, again, we're talking about riding our motorcycles, being with like-minded people, fellow veterans, and making the organization grow. Later on today, we have a meeting. It'll be our first meeting of all the different riders groups, and we're going to discuss all this and come up with a game plan. long term, our goal is to have a state ride. And again, any money that we get from this stuff, it all goes back to, like, for instance, PA Wounded Warriors.
Great organization, yeah.
That's something my riders group in my district have already given money for, and I know you've done it too with District 29.
Yep.
Well, that's fantastic, and I know both of you had said, you know what, this riders group is, you know, therapy for, right? It's therapy
Absolutely.
for the soul, right? Is that, you know, it's, you and I had talked, say, hey, you know what? I go on rides, and, you know, when the effects of the combat stress and the effects of combat stress, what a great, safe outlet for veterans to have, right? And to come to the riders group, to have that camaraderie with just out of curiosity, how many are fellow Marines?
That's I mean, it encompasses
calling all Marines, if you want
to. I mean, if you look at the VFW membership as a whole, it kind of mirrors that.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm not out there recruiting, hey, come here, Jarhead, you know, like join the riders group. No, I mean, a lot of our guys that have joined were hesitant to join the VFW because they didn't think there was a program out there for them that they would be allowed, or they would enjoy. And now that there is an outlet via motorcycles, they're now involved.
Right.
They come to the meetings. They see what's going on. They see the change that we're trying to change. The change we're trying to make actually happen.
Yeah. So in my riders group, I have a Marine, battle a case on, okay, all the way down to a young guy that's 25 that was in the Navy. We're not caught up on branch of service or theater or campaign, what war or police action or whatever you were in.
Right.
We're caught up in, we want to ride our motorcycles. We're not outlaws or anything like that. We follow the mandate of the VFW and the riders group. Again, I have female veterans in my riders group. I have Vietnam era all the way up to, like I said, a 25, 26-year-old.
Yeah, that's great. And you know something, that's really, to tell you the truth, I when I go into posts, if they have activities, right, you have activities that can attract those different generations. That makes a strong organization. It really does. If I could ask, you know, both of you, if there were veterans out there now that are struggling, right, that are struggling, and they're looking for a place again to belong, because I struggle that with myself. It's you know, I miss active duty. I miss the friends, the lifelong friends that I have. They're all from the military. I do have some, you know, civilian friends. I don't hold that against them, that they, you know, and I don't hold anybody that joined the Air Force either, right? But you know, if you had one thing to say to struggling veterans right now, what would it be? You know, what would it be to say, hey, come join our group?
It's just reach out.
Yep.
We're here.
Reach out. We're here. One of my mission and Wally's with the Riders Group is letting people know we're out there, getting our contact information. If you're looking to belong to an organization that will help you, the Riders Group is a department within the VFW that rewards me. Wally say the same thing. Law enforcement, so a bad shift, I got to do that brain dump. I go jump on a motorcycle and ride by myself. But when I'm having problems, I need to have a conversation. My brothers and sisters within the Riders Group are there for me. I know nowadays, especially with the younger veterans, you know, with drug and alcohol issues, a bar isn't necessarily the best place for them to be.
Right.
The Riders Group gives an opportunity to have that camaraderie, that brotherhood, and you don't have to drink, because we're not getting all banged up on her and
right.
jump on her motorcycle.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Right. And that's important. It's having that safe space for the brothers and, you know, the brothers and sisters where you can have a place to decompress, right? And I know both of you have shared very personal stories and with me about that as well. I just wanted to transition one moment to Wally. Wally's actually part of the Pittsburgh Warriors and plays hockey, which is another, you've told me that that's a tremendous outlet for you as well, right? Just probably as impactful as the Riders Group.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of veterans out there who, when they get out, they lose the comradeship of being a part of a team. And the Pittsburgh Warriors and basically every pro team around the country has these Warrior teams now. And it's all like-minded veterans. We're all disabled through the VA at 10% or higher. Most of the disabilities is PTSD. We have some hockey players that are missing legs. They actually ice skate with their prosthetic. It's pretty awesome. I've seen it in person. But it's more about healing through hockey. We play the sport, and it's just fun. You get to be out there with veterans who have gone through some similar stuff you have. Work it out on the ice. You put a bunch of alpha males playing a physical game. It gets pretty. It's fun. I mean, you have. I've been hurt. I've been carted off the ice on a stretcher, dragged off the ice like a dead deer.
He takes a week off of work after a game. He's getting up there in age. He can't move like he used to.
I'm too old to be playing these multi-game day tournaments and stuff. But more or less, I mean, we have, with the Pittsburgh Warriors, it's from novice level to guys who've played in, upper D1 college, even juniors. It's just amazing to see the progression of the skills for the new players and the connection that everybody has in the locker room, on the ice, and even when we just hang out outside the rink and, birthday parties for the kids. It's just another avenue.
Sure.
It's just one of those other programs that veterans have created for themselves to make sure no one's left behind.
That's awesome. That's really great. I mean, lots of options, right? So if you're a veteran, especially if you're a veteran watching today or you're listening today, and you're struggling, and you live especially in the Pittsburgh area with the the Riders groups that are there, the Pittsburgh Warriors. Is there another Pennsylvania team?
Oh yeah, there's the IATW. Warthogs.
Okay.
It's about the Warrior Foundation.
Okay.
And then there's one in Johnstown, the Johnstown Generals.
Okay.
And Philadelphia, the Flyers have a Warrior team also. So we actually have 4 Warrior teams technically that provide to veterans that are looking for that outlet.
Yeah. So no excuse, right? No excuse and no
whatsoever.
excuse to engage with your brothers and sisters in a safe manner, right?
Absolutely.
And to help you. Who better than to help you through struggles than those that have shared that struggle with you, right?
Yeah.
That have been through the same common experience. Well, this is great. I also want to say thank you, Wally. Wally's on our state membership team as well. He's done an incredible job out there in Pittsburgh. He was professionally trained as a Marine Corps recruiter, so that always helps as well. So he was crushing it over there. So,
thank you.
Sold.
Yes. You know how hard it is to sell war to a 17, 18-year-old kid?
Right, but, exactly. That's it.
He wasn't a recruiter too long.
right. He made too many kids cry.
Yeah, no. I think that's where I got my horrible sense of humor from.
Right. Everybody made cry, then went to the Air Force, right?
Yeah.
That's it. No, just Air Force is good. We're good. No, this is really good. I want to really appreciate both of you being here. It's an incredible honor to sit here with you. I've enjoyed all the stories that you've shared with me. It's just having these outlets for veterans it's an incredible opportunities for veterans as well. So Brian Armstrong from the Hermione Post commander of the Hermione Post, and Wally P, because I'm not going to butcher his name anymore. I told him I wouldn't do, from 6675 out in Pittsburgh. I'm going to have the links to the Riders groups and your emails in the description here in the podcast itself and on the show. You can get a hold of either of them. They'll be, especially if you're in the Pittsburgh area or any one of the counties just outside Pittsburgh. Lots of opportunities as well.
And one of the bigger things that I'd like to get out there, and part of the mission and the message what we're pushing today at our meeting is, if you're a district commander or commander of a post and you yourself are interested in this, reach out, because there are veterans that in your area that ride motorcycles. It's Pennsylvania. like every other guy owns a bike. So reach out, figure out how to reach those veterans, get them into your post, and start to organize. Do it methodically. You know, think about it. Don't just try to throw something at the wall and hope it sticks.
And again, with what Wally's saying, the VFW Riders Group is a statewide thing. So if you're in a county in Pennsylvania and you're not sure there's a Riders Group, try to get a hold of us somehow, or even within your VFW community and start one. Mm-hmm. We can help you get it started. It's not that hard. It's a little bit of a process to do it right, and we'll help you get there and start your own riders group within your district.
Yeah, and that's the thing, doing it right, because if you don't do it the correct way, it's just going to fail. And, and you know, further on down the road, it might be fun at first, but you know, a year, 2 years down the road, all of a sudden you don't have what you need to keep it going. And I mean, it could just turn into a nightmare. So that's why you should reach out to somebody who did it, knows what they're doing. And, you know, you got plenty of people in this at the convention here that have been a part of it, and they want to help. They want to make this grow.
Well, that's fantastic. And one last thing, you don't have to be a VFW member to be a member of the VFW Riders, correct?
No. However, at the minimum, you have to, in some capacity, join a post. Meaning, if you're a social member, meaning you're not a combat veteran or auxiliary, social members can join. So if you already go to a VFW as a social member and you support your local VFW, you can get involved. Not getting into a lot of detail, but your VFW Riders Group, your officers have to be regular members.
Active members. Okay.
Active members.
Oh, great.
Yes.
Great. Well, listen, I, from you know, one brother to another, I really want to thank you for being here. This has been an incredible 30 minutes that we've had with the both of you. I want to thank you for taking your time from the convention. There's a lot yet to do on the convention. So, folks, I thank you thanks everybody for watching and for being here. Brian Armstrong and Wally P. from the western side of Pennsylvania, both in the VFW Riders Group as well as active members in their post. If you are struggling in the veterans, please reach out. We'll have their contact information down in the description of the podcast. So I'm here with Miss Melody Price. Melody is District 30 Commander from the Pennsylvania Veterans of Foreign Wars, brand new commander, actually a year old. So welcome to Pennsylvania Veterans Forward, Melody. It's great to have you.
Thank you.
It's awesome. This is, it's really good. Of course, we're still here at the 2022 Pennsylvania State Convention for the Veterans of Foreign Wars, and Melody is part of a key part of that conference. So tell us, how's your convention going, Melody?
It's very informative. It's long, but I like the camaraderie that I get every time I show up to these. Seeing you. And
She's
all
too
the
kind.
all the other district commanders, and now this time I'm meeting some of the incoming ones. Sad to see the old ones leave, but the new ones come in. You know, so I guess now it's having old new friends, and now getting new friends. You know, that I can bug all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll tell you, I do miss the camaraderie. One of the reasons I joined the VFW was because that camaraderie, I missed it, right? On active duty, you had those people, you know, you had hard times, you went through tough times, but you felt like you had a family that you had that you could go through those things with, that those people understand you. You know, I'm sure I have lifelong friends, you know, that were formed in the military, friendships that were formed there, as I'm sure you do as well. Let's talk a little bit about, so you're a newer district commander. Let's talk a little bit about, let's see, your district was formed about a year ago, right?
Right. It'll be a year. In July, we actually had our first meeting.
Oh, okay. And you're the first commander of the district, right?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. Well, congratulations, and I'm assuming you've been reelected.
Yes, I have.
Okay, good work. The reward for good
really
work is
exciting.
work. And you're the first commander of a brand new district. You're a female. Wanted to talk a little bit about that too, which is going to change topics. And females now make up about, I think, 20% of the military's population. They're also the fastest growing veteran demographic. For you being there, how have you been? How's your experience been as far as being received in the VFW? Have you had an easier time with comrades in the VFW being accepting? Have they been accepting to you, or do you find it just as difficult sometimes to be a female in the VFW as maybe perhaps you experienced in the military?
Well, I'll take you back to whenever I first got involved in the district. A couple of the people was like, hey, come to a district meeting with me. And I'm like, all right, I'll go. So my second district meeting, one of the commanders, Commander Snook, he said, hey, why don't you run for junior vice? I'm like, what do I got to do? He's like, well, we'll train you as we go. And I'm like, all right, whatever. And so then, so I started going to the meetings. And then it's like the second or third one I went to, I go up to the bar to get a water to go into the meeting. And the bartender says, we have water and lemonade back at your meeting room. She said, just ask one of those ladies. And I'm like, excuse me, but I'm the junior vice commander of the district. And she's like, oh, okay. So like all of a sudden, some of the guys turned around and looked, and they're like, oh, let me buy you a beer. And I'm like, no, that's not necessary. I just want you to know that we women are stepping up and doing more with the VFWs, And a little bit later, I became my post commander. And we had some of the older gentlemen in there that they're like, are we ready for a female commander?
Wow.
Well, I said, ready or not, here I come.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Good for you. Good for you.
So back then, like, you really didn't have to have your board president and your post commander the same person. So we worked hand in hand a lot, but a lot of people couldn't believe that, hey, we do have a female commander,
Yeah.
And I guess, we're here. And now we have a couple of female officers in the post, and I just took on 2 other female officers on my district.
Well, that's fantastic. And, it's really something. You hear that from other female members of the VFW. Our Women's Veterans Chair for the state, Amy McKenzie. Oftentimes you'll hear her say she walks into a post to attend a meeting, and they'll say the ladies' meeting is down the hall, or the women are meeting over here. They don't realize that that's again, fastest growing demographic in the military is women joining the military, which I think is great.
Yeah, but you also have to look that the auxiliary now has males. So when the guys go in, one of my posts has an auxiliary president as a male, so you walk in and they're like, oh, well, the guys are over there. And he's like, no, I'm the auxiliary president. So it's going both ways.
Yeah, it is. It is. And of course, in 2015, as you know, they removed ladies from the ladies auxiliary as well. It sounds, first, you're breaking some of those glass ceilings, first female, new district commander, right? The new district forming. I think that's wonderful. Tell me a little bit about how you actually got into the VFW. What brought you to the VFW? I know you're from a smaller community in central Pennsylvania. How did you get? Did you join the VFW in central Pennsylvania, or did you join when you were on active duty or a larger post? Or
no, I joined my VFW. My parents went there, and they're like, they bought my social membership, and then I was a single mother, and working at the VFW as a bartender was my second job. So one of the he was our quartermaster, Melvin Brandt. He came up to me and he said, Melody, so you were in the Army. I've known you forever. I'm like, yeah. He's like, did you ever go anywhere? And I'm like, naming all these places. And I'm like, well, I was in Korea. He's like, you are going to be one of my next post members. And I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, you can be a post member.
Yeah.
And so I joined. I was in Korea in April 84 till November 85. I did 18 months there.
Where were you in Korea? Just Seoul. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
I worked in the mess hall where everybody came in and out. So I've seen tons and tons of people. And so I re-enlisted and I stayed over there. So I did 18 months there. So when I came, then I was doing my second job, and he's like, well, there. So then I got active and I started going to the meetings, and my first day there, they're like, hey, we need a chaplain. I'm like, so what does that entail? Look, I'm already working 2 jobs. What do I do? So they're like, we'll train you, but for now we just need you to read the scripts out of this pamphlet. And I'm like, okay, well, I can do that. So then I did that for a couple of years, and then I went up to junior vice, did that for a couple of years, and I did senior vice, and they're like, you're ready to be our commander. And I'm like, okay. So I did that, and it was easy because I worked right with the board president, at that time.
Yeah,
so we worked hand
important.
in hand, so we had everything, we did everything together. And then, and in those times, we do a lot of community activities. Like we do a lot of the parades. I do it for Huntington, Mount Union. We have our color guard, which I do that. We do for our football games. Like you said, we are a small town, so not a lot of people see us,
Right.
but they know that we're there.
Yeah, and that's really important. There's a lot of, and I really appreciate you saying that. There's, a lot of our posts now reaching out to younger members, reaching out to the members that are eligible in the community.
Right.
Ensuring that every veteran has the opportunity to belong. Any eligible veteran has the opportunity to belong to the greatest combat veterans organization on the face of the planet. Of course, there may be a little bias, a little bias in
Right.
that. But that's great. It's you're doing some really great work, and the district is thriving. All your posts are doing real well. That's fantastic. So you were reelected. So another year in the fire on the hot seat.
Right. Well, from the sounds of it, it sounds like I may be there for a little while. But all of my guys have been great. The 2 females that I have coming on, one is my chief of staff, and because my past chief of staff, Craig Jackson, he has health issues. He was in that bad motor accident.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
And one of my trustees, Amy Campbell, she's from my post. So yeah, I've brought both of them aboard with me, and all the guys that I have, they're doing really, they do great. And if I need something, they're right on board. So
that's great. So if you're making an appeal, and you're in, is that Mount Union? No, is it? It's
yes, I'm in Mount Union, Huntington County. Yeah,
Mount Union, Huntington County. If you were to make an appeal to younger veterans, what would you tell them? What would be your message? Saying, look, you're a younger veteran, saying, here's what the VFW did for me. Here's why I wanted to belong. What would you tell younger veterans today to say, this is the organization you want to be in, especially if you're eligible?
Well, I think because when you say VFW, a lot of people think that you're just the bar. Okay, but we're not. We're actually out in the eyes of our communities. Like I have a couple different counties that I go to, and we're there we help veterans. We are veterans who help veterans. So, and a lot of those don't even have to be VFW eligible veterans, but we are there for veterans, But if you're eligible VFW veteran, come aboard and help us, help you,
Absolutely.
Let's help everybody. Let's do our communities. We have Fulton County, I have Bedford County, Huntington County, and part of Mifflin County, So I can't do that all myself. So if I could say one thing, I would be, come help us, help you.
Absolutely. And it's not just the elderly person. This is not your grandfather's bar. It's
Right.
not the organization is changing, and we desperately need the leadership of the younger generation to step in and take the reins. Otherwise, we're losing, as probably even in your own post, we're losing Vietnam era veterans,
Right,
Vietnam
exactly.
veterans, much more rapidly than the World War II veterans had joined. And we're losing the greatest generation seem to have lived a lot longer, with people in their 90s, probably had some in your post as well. It's really important. So if you are a younger veteran, we encourage you to come in. We have VFW service officers that are paid by the state. So if you want to come in and file a claim, you can do that. That's at no charge. We help, by the way, we help every veteran. It doesn't matter if you're eligible for our organization or not.
Exactly.
So, well, Melody, it's been a pleasure, an absolute pleasure here to have a couple of minutes with you at the 2022 State Convention. It's been really nice having you on the show. Good luck to you. Best of luck to you in another year as district commander. You've done an absolute outstanding job over there, and we really appreciate it. Well, my next guest is a very special guest on the show. We're here with State Commander, Pennsylvania State Commander, Nathaniel Smith, the State Commander now for the past year. This is known as his convention. He's put it all together quite nicely and orchestrated a really great convention here. Commander, we are honored to have you here with us today at your convention. I know that you're extremely busy, and I want to thank you for taking the time. It's been a fantastic convention. I've enjoyed every single minute of it, especially with the awards presentation. So welcome.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it's great to have you here. So tell me, the year just I'm assuming you're thinking the year just flew by.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there was so many events that was scheduled. I just couldn't keep up with them. I had to send my senior vice out, my junior vice, and that's normally what you do. But I can't express how the gratitude I have for the post and districts that I had the opportunity to visit.
Yeah, and you did a lot of traveling just coming out of COVID and just coming out of the pandemic. You yourself did a lot of travel. You put a lot of miles on those cars, on that car. I know you did. Of course, you and I very in constant contact. As your membership chair, you were gone everywhere. In all your travels this year? What do you think, if you had to pick one or two of those memorable events from this year, what would you say they were?
Well, first of all, National Home was one of the ones.
That's right.
I got an opportunity. And honoring, these World War II vets that are hundreds of years old, these 75th anniversaries and the 100th anniversaries. It's just amazing. All those years, comrades support their veterans, their families, and the community.
Yeah, it was important. I know that the Post really enjoyed seeing you when you showed up. Often I would see your Facebook post that say, "Hey, this is thank you for the warm welcome, thank you for the camaraderie, thank you for all the hospitality you showed us." It was really neat to see you. Some posts you had even said hadn't seen a state commander in many years, right? And it's great. You had an incredible set of line officers that did a fantastic job for you. You had quite a few. Large events that you went to. I personally want to thank you for the membership, for the support of the membership team. You had made that a priority when you started, and your platform was transitioning the leadership from the Vietnam era to the Gulf War era. That was your platform. That was your commitment that you made to the organization when you stepped into the role, especially the role of commander. How do you think you actually did against those goals?
Well, I'm going to be very honest with you. That was one of the objectives that I know I achieved. Okay.
Great.
And what's pertinent to that, evidence is the fact is when we had our 34th midwinter conference in January, right here at this
same hotel.
And when we went into the breakout sessions, we had training for quartermaster, adjutant, trustees, and it amazed me that every room that I visited, because I visit every room, okay, there was no empty chairs, okay, and they were new new post commanders, quartermasters, adjutants, trustees, very important people. And it, and then afterwards it was like, wow, I'm glad we came, and these are younger vets.
Right.
And the thing was that 70% of those vets that were at that conference were basically Desert Storm, and Afghanistan.
Yeah.
And the thing is that, we transition as a team. Okay. So united, that's what we are. And that's what I want to keep.
Well, you were I can tell you're very successful in that. We have seen an increase in younger veterans, even, in our own post. Well, now we're in the same post. It transferred a few weeks ago into the commanders. And I understand you're still staying in a leadership capacity. The reward for good work is more work, right? So I understand that you're now, you've been elected to a post. As a commander,
post commander for first time.
Post commander for first time. So that's that's great. And as long as the short time that I've known you, the few years that I've known you, it's in your blood to lead and to help influence. And I really appreciate that. And your post is forever grateful that you're stepping in as well. Can't believe the year is already gone, right? And it's gonna be bittersweet. So I always ask commanders, what's the next, after convention? Is you gonna take a little breather, or you're gonna head right? I know you're still gonna be on the council, but what type of involvement are you gonna have in the state leadership team?
Well, I'm there to support the incoming commander. My job is to be a mentor of, my successors, and anything that I could do for, our department commander, I'm going to be there. The commander that's going to take, that's going to relieve me is specifically, he's hard, he's ready to go. Okay. He's really excited. So I told him, I said, I'm here for you, and we need to continue to work together. And that's what makes this organization successful.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, this is, you're right. I think it was the senior vice that said yesterday in combat, what's the one thing that saves you, right? Yep. The person next to you, right? The person next to you is the one that saves you. It's been an incredible run. The year's not over, right? I mean, our percentage today in membership is 98.22. So about 1,100 members to go for 100%. So those of you that are listening, that are post commanders, district commanders, or just VFW members, or those that are not yet members that are eligible to join our organization, please consider joining the organization. You can join at vfw.org/join, or send an email if you're in Pennsylvania to membership at vfwpa.org, and we can get you signed up if you're an eligible veteran. So VA benefits, we have service officers. There's a whole range of things. And if you had one message to tell younger veterans or just any eligible veteran commander, what would that be?
To basically join the team, be part of us, because we need your vote when it comes to passing bills that affect our veterans and their families.
Absolutely. Every member counts. Your voice counts. The commander had interacted with the state legislature a number of times and sat on a number of different boards. And each time he did, right, it was always, who do you represent? How many do you represent? And do they vote?
Absolutely.
It is important. Well, Commander, we know you're a busy man. It's been a great convention. You got a lot of things left to do, and it's probably, I won't speak for you, but it may be bittersweet, right? As you transition the command to the new commander.
Well, actually, it's kind of scary because I have mixed feelings here. Okay, but the old saying is, you leave it better than you found it, and I think I've done that.
Well, you did. They certainly did that all those years in the military, right? And as a Master Chief transitioning from one to another, right? It's you always leave. You're right. The Boy Scout motto: you always leave it better than you found it. Well, Commander, I want to thank you on behalf of the organization, and thank you for stepping up. You've been a fantastic commander. You're a personal friend of mine, and I couldn't ask for a better friend, a better commander. You've been an honorable man, upstanding man, and if anything, you've taught me to always do the right thing, and certainly always what's right for the organization. So I want to thank you for your leadership. I want to thank you for your mentorship in myself and the team. And ladies and gentlemen, Commander Nathaniel Smith, State Commander, until tomorrow morning, when he passes the baton to another qualified, really qualified and honorable person that's going to stay in command or take command. So, on behalf of the organization, I'm John Otte. I'm the membership chairman. This is Commander Nathaniel Smith. We continue to broadcast here from the 2022 State Convention of the Veterans of Foreign Wars. We hope you continue to watch and listen, and we'll bring you more of the episode for the remainder of this weekend. Our next guest here on Pennsylvania Veterans Forward, District 29 Commander Jessica King. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, it's wonderful to have you, and it's I've been looking forward to this interview as well. How's your convention?
I'm sure you are.
I really am. You've been one of the more fascinating district commanders, and I think you've had a tough district. We'll go into that. You have a large district, as number of posts, but how's your convention going?
It's going well. It's been a very informational weekend. It's great to be back together again, all of us across the state of Pennsylvania. So I think it's a good one, and it's good to see the post here. I see a lot of posts showing up to the convention, which is good. It shows that the information is getting out there. We're using our technology. We're using our Facebook, and our district commanders are getting the word out there. I see a lot of my posts here, and I'm excited. Good.
It really is. This is only my third or fourth convention, and you see it ebb and flow. And of course, we had 2 years in the pandemic there.
Correct.
So we really didn't get to meet. So it probably will take another convention or two, as we come back to full strength and people are okay with being in person again. So, but this is a great. It's an honor to have you on the show. It really is. You're an incredible district commander, and I mean that sincerely. What a great job you've done there. Great work with the post commanders and stuff like that. So. Tell us a little bit about Jessica in District 20. What brought you to the VFW? What branch of service, fellow Marine. So
that's right. I served in the Marine Corps in 1998. I'm a unicorn veteran because I served prior to 9/11 and after 9/11. So I was actually in when 9/11 happened. And then I got out in 2002. There was no stop loss in the Marine Corps or in the military yet. And we knew we were going to Iraq and Afghanistan. So at that point, I had a child. It was time for me to get out. So I got out. And then 2003, the Marine Corps thought differently. So they brought me back in. I was presidential recalled. They sent me to the reserve unit here in Pennsylvania, Evansburg. And I was deployed over to Iraq in 2003 during the invasion.
Oh, that's incredible. Wow. And as a young mom too, right?
Correct.
A young mom. Here you are deploying again.
And my husband,
deploying.
Yep, and we were dual. We're dual family. We were both veterans or active duty at the time, but we were both veterans at that time. So yes. Wow,
that's incredible, and at such a young, when you have young children, having the deployment happens to a lot of families and things like that. So, what actually brought you to the VFW?
So I was active in my local post in Trenton, PA. Actually, I was a dual auxiliary and a post member. I was close to the auxiliary. I don't know if she was the president at that time, but she was in the auxiliary. She wanted me to get involved, so I started getting involved. And then work happened, a full-time mom. So at the time I'm becoming a single mom, and then I had to work. So I ended up getting out of the military, or out of the VFW. So a couple years later, I met my current husband. So we we joined our local post, and I just started getting more involved, and they, asked me to become junior vice of the post. And then my husband was the quartermaster, and then I started running for district office.
That's fantastic. So it's, how long have you been in the VFW?
I want to say about 4 or 5 years.
Wow.
I guess the COVID, I think I lost some time somewhere, but about 4 or 5 years, I think we were actively involved in the VFW.
Wow. And then to be a district commander, this was your second year as district commander?
Yeah. So first year COVID, really didn't count because you couldn't really do much. You couldn't, get into post. We were actually shut down longer than most of the counties in the state. We were shut down longer. So we couldn't get out to the post. We couldn't do very much. We couldn't do what we were supposed to do as a VFW, the community involvement and stuff like that. So last year was just I don't know what kind of year you want to call it, but this year is my learning year, and I look forward to another year again. I was reelected for 2022 to 23. So Jess, so now we know you were a Marine, or are a Marine. Always a Marine.
Always a Marine. Amen. You joined, you were deployed with the Marine Corps. You've come back, you've had a family, you joined the VFW, you're moving up in the VFW in the ranks. All really, really great stuff. But it was probably not all, wine and roses, right? And challenges. Talk about some of the challenges you had. Start with the challenges you had as a female in the Marine Corps, nonetheless, right? And I remember you told me you were one of the only females in your unit.
Correct. So when I was active duty, I was a truck driver of all MOSs in the military. If you don't know what MOS is, it's our occupational
That's
job.
not too female heavy, is it?
So I was that 18-year-old, and I was like, hey, they're like, what job do you want? And I was like, well, I don't really want an admin job. I want something that wasn't your typical female job. And the only thing back then, when being a Marine, is motor T. We weren't doing infantry at the time, so I went into the Marine. I did motor T, and throughout my career, there's 1 or 2 females, if that, in our units. When I picked up corporal, NCO, I was the official female P watcher, because they didn't have that many, so they would just ask me to go around to monitor the drug test,
And drug and alcohol, yeah.
Yeah. So after that, it's hard. It's that kind of it was a brotherhood, right? And the females are slowly integrating into the MOSs that were male dominant. And you just have to have a thick skin and be tough, You can't let things get to you.
Yeah, for sure. In female, we had Melody Price on in the show earlier, and she talked about some of her, experiences that she had in the Army, and especially when she was overseas and things like that. It was a challenge. It still is a challenge in the military. We hear you do have some, it is changing, right? It is changing.
Yes.
Where the acceptance of females are doing, like you said, they're in combat roles now, and they're. Tell me about your experience. What have you experienced some of that same sentiment when you came into the VFW? I
did, unfortunately, but it is a lot of males were deploying. Back when I was in 2003, I didn't even think I was being deployed. I thought, when I went to the reserve unit, they presidential recalled me, and I thought, I'm just going to stay here and hang out at the base, right? They're not going to deploy me, because as a female, I didn't think I'd get attached to an infantry unit. And I was part of the 4th MAR division, which is infantry. So I didn't think I would get deployed. I didn't really say goodbye. I just played it off hey, I'll see you in a couple of days. I'll just be here in Evansburg. But actually, I actually got deployed, and I was like, oh crap, I'm really going, So going to Iraq, there was 2 of us on the base. I was the only female in my unit that got deployed at that time. And then it was during the invasion, and then there was only 2 of us on a whole base of 300, not just Marines, but it was it was Air Force, Navy, and they would give us these crazy head hours and stuff like this. I'm like, this isn't going to work. So, being 2 females out of a base of 300, male soldiers and Marines and airmen, it just doesn't work out. But we did it. You just have to, again, tough through it, take it how it comes. And it's very hard even back when I talk to people, my grandma was World War II and she was a female, she was a WAC. And I was like, I mean, how did she do this? Like, now it's 2003. We didn't really change. We did change some, but it's still not that much. So, I mean, now it's changing because of veteran organizations like ourselves that, females are starting to step into those roles as district commanders, department commanders, and, national commanders. And we're making sure that the military hears us.
You also just received an award. Congratulations for being in the Veterans Court Treatment Program, and I know you've been a huge advocate for that for over 10 years now, it sounds like, right?
Well, about 4 years, I think.
About 4 years? Oh, okay.
So Veterans Court is, so I knew about it a long time ago. I had friends that worked in Veterans Court, and thankfully, I've never had to go through the route of Veterans Court, but as an advocate, I highly think it's a great program. As a veteran, we do some stupid things sometimes, whether it's, drinking and driving or, drug and alcohol, a lot of our PTSD has not been treated.
Right.
And we try to self-medicate and try to do our own thing. And you get, there's not UCMJ out here. It's the law, right? So if you break it, there's cops, and they bring them into the Veterans Court program. It's a treatment court. You have to do the treatment. But a lot of successful veterans have come out of our Veterans Courts programs. There's 25 they said yesterday, right?
Yeah, about 25 different Veterans Courts.
And now it's expanding. So I've been to the national training last year at the down in Baltimore area, and it was a great program. Just listening to all the programs that are out there and everything that's out there for the veterans, especially Veterans Court. ACJ, Allegheny County Jail, has a veterans pod. It was Senator Ivino helped get that going, and it's a great program. You put veterans, together, and they work it out. We come in, we provide services just as mental. The VA comes in, they'll help with that, with medical and getting them into the Veterans Court. If they're not VA eligible, we'll find other programs that will help them.
How have you found the best way to do outreach to veterans that are hurting?
That the VFW is always available. I know people have that stereotype that we used to be a smoky bar and it's a bunch of older people sitting around smoking, telling war stories. And that's not true. We've changed the culture of the VFWs, especially in Allegheny County, me being a woman, and working in the veteran space. And I educate my commanders and let them know, like, hey, these are the resources that we have. If a veteran comes in, please help them. And if you go to a VFW and they don't help you, please reach out to me. I will make sure I educate those commanders and let them know what the resources are, and I'll make sure you get help.
Oh, that's fantastic. And as I said, you've done an incredible job with 36 different posts, the Veterans Leadership Program, Veterans Court Advocate. You're a mom, you're a wife, where do you find the time to sleep? I mean, what does Jessica do for fun? I mean, and I think I ask that because I think it's in every veteran's DNA to actually serve. That's what we do. It's been ingrained in us.
And I think it helps our PTSD actually, or our mental health, because, if we are sitting there and we're not doing what we were taught to, like we're not serving our country now, we're, what do we do next? Right? If you start serving other veterans, I think it actually helps you. I think it actually helped me with my struggles and, connecting with other veterans, being a peer mentor to other veterans. I don't use my rank ever. I just say, I served in the military. I'm with you. I understand what you're going through. Let's work this out. So I think just being a veteran, I think helping other veterans, I think that helps you through what you're going through.
Indeed. And, I'm going to share something and we can edit it out if you don't want to share it. But I saw some of your Facebook posts and you talked about something that really resonated with me. It's finding that purpose again, finding you miss active duty, you miss being around other veterans and other people in the military. You felt that your purpose was you were on track and you were there with your purpose. You knew what it was. And now active duty has been after active duty and you're still serving and things like that. You said, you're starting once again to feel the purpose, right? And feel your purpose. And I think we all kind of ebb and flow, but I wanted to ask you about that because I thought you had an interesting perspective on it.
So if you don't know, you see my social media. So my gunny recently passed away.
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
Thank you. He, he was the gunny of the Marine Corps, right? If there was a position in the Marine Corps, he was that gunny, you know, like the commandant of the Marine Corps, the sergeant major, he was the gunny. He was the gunny that would, no matter what, take care of his troops, whether it was in Iraq or at the reserve center or even just everyday common things, right? He even got ordained to marry me because I was looking for a chaplain, and Gunny stepped up. Yeah, I was like, "Hey, Gunny, like we have to make sure this is legal." Like
Father Gunny.
Yeah, I was like, you know, and he was such a he looked tough. You know, he looked like a Marine through and through. And he, after the Marine Corps, after he retired after 20 years, he even went in back to the Marine Corps, not as a Marine, but as a civilian working with, you know, trying to find officers for the Marine Corps. He was an officer recruiter. I'm not sure of his exact title, but he was a GS something, right? So he helped the Marine Corps find officers for the Marine Corps, right, after he did 20 years already. And he was that person, like I would call him and he'd be like, "Hey, Gunny, I need this." And he had it for me, or he'd make sure things happened. And when he passed away, you know, just things, you know, you just lose, you know, he was my purpose. Like he inspired me, right? He kept me going. He was my leader, right? You do things for your gunny, your staff NCOs, your NCOs, ICs. And when he passed, I was like, now what? You know, cause I don't have Gunny to call, you know. We were actually working on a project when he died. We got word, you know, with Bill Rowland, said yesterday that a Marine, his last wish was to be buried in his dress blues. And he was Vietnam era. He had cancer, and we were expecting him to pass in October. Well, Marines have their own ideas, right? When they want to go. Right. So he actually passed away on Memorial Day, and I just ordered his, you know, the Marine Corps uniform's not the easiest thing. Right. I found the blues. I found the blues that would fit him. Bill donated his Corps frames, right? He was like, "Here, you can just have my shoes." And I had to find all the buttons. We had to find his ribbons. I ordered all that on Sunday, and he passed away on Monday. And I was like, "Oh my God, it's not going to be here." So Bill and I were driving all over Pittsburgh, and he even drove down to California, PA, to get his medals. You know, so we were driving all over the place trying to find this Marine, his uniform, so he can be buried away. And Gunny texted me that Thursday, and he said, "Oh, I got it. I got you." And then he passed away on Tuesday, and then the following weekend that Marine died. So I was like, "Oh, this isn't working for me."
Oh my goodness!
But yeah, so it is what it is, and I think, you know, I have to reevaluate my life a little bit. I think I continue to love serving veterans. What aspect I want to do it, I'm not sure yet. But the VFW has given me that purpose as well. Cause, you know, in the VFW, we can do, you know, things as a district commander. I can do things, you know, within the bylaws, but also we can think outside the box, right? How do we help veterans, not with the format that we have been, but what can we do outside of that format? I recently found out a post, kind of struggling, and it's a building. And it's not a canteen. So I'm like, "Oh, this is perfect. What do I do with this building?" You know, a lot of our veterans have drug and alcohol.
Last place you want them is a
correct.
You know,
they have, you know, issues with that, or their mental health. It's not good for them to be at a canteen. So I found a spot, and I'm thinking, like, how do I change this building with the approval of the membership, of course, but they need members. So, you know, let's think outside the box. Let's make this work. Like, how do we get our veterans that served in our combat into a place where they will feel welcomed and they can continue to serve our veterans in our community.
Well, that's really incredible. You've done an incredible job there with District 29, the veterans in Allegheny County. I don't know how you do it. I'd need a nap every 50 minutes.
Ask Bill Rowland, Jim Brown, Gunny. You know, they're just like, "Stop texting me." And Brian Armstrong, I think the Riders Group. You had Ryan and
Wally
were here earlier.
Yeah.
I think that Riders Group was the greatest thing that has come out of this. Well, not one of the greatest things, but I think it was a great addition to the VFW this year, the District Riders Group. We've gone into posts, you know, people would ask, "Hey, like, when can we get a post Riders Group?" Well, you don't have enough people. I'm sorry. Like, we can't just start a charter with 2 people. Right. And having the district, and I think they meet at different VFWs. They get to check out what other VFWs are doing. They get to interact with other members of the district. And I think it's great. And they ride together. You know, my husband just bought a bike, and I was like, I don't know about this, but the rider, he enjoys it. And I think it's another outlet for our veterans to work on their mental health and that brother and sisterhood that they missed from whenever they served in the military.
Yeah, for sure. There's we talked about that earlier too. If you are a veteran, or any veteran, right? Because you don't have to be a
Nope, you don't have to be a VFW.
VFW member. Any veteran, if you're struggling, you want an outlet. If it's get in touch with the VFW Riders in District 29 or District 27. We'll have those contact points or points of contact, I should say, in the description and in the links here. It's a great outreach tool. It's a great way for veterans to be around each other. And I asked that question. I said, how many of them are Marines? And they said, well, they have a pretty good complement.
I think half my district officers are becoming Marines now.
right. There seems to be a trend there, right? That's well, Jessica, congratulations on a successful year as district commander. Your next year here as district commander.
It's be more amazing next year. I can't wait.
It certainly will be. You're going to do great things. We really appreciate, and everything you do to serve veterans, we really appreciate. So, Jessica King, ladies and gentlemen. Our next guest, special guest that we have here on the show is District 28 Commander, outgoing District 28 Commander, and also our National Legislative Chairman. Please welcome to the show, Mr. Jim Brown. Jim, thanks for coming.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Oh, this is I've been waiting for this interview for a long time. So thanks for joining us, Jim. Jim and I are attached at the hip as far as when membership and legislation, they go together. So let's talk a little bit about like, I know you're an Air Force veteran. You and I have talked and things like that. What brought you to the VFW?
Really, it took a while for me to join the VFW, just because being young and being out and not thinking I had time to do anything actively there. And then I found that you don't really have to be active at a post. Just being part of the entity, the VFW itself, really helps with, getting things passed on Capitol Hill and things like that, which is what I do now. And I grew an interest in it, and I, just the camaraderie, and you feel comfortable around people that understand you.
Yeah, without a doubt, that's a great point. Earlier in the show we had Brian Armstrong and Wally Paciorkowski, who are the District 29 and 27 Riders Group presidents. And I can tell you, having an outlet or having, a safe space to go to where, let's face it, the only people really, not the only people, but people who understand you the best are the ones that go through a common or a similar experience.
Most definitely.
And having that outlet, right, I found for my own reasoning to come into the VFW is very much the same way, to have other veterans that understand the lingo, that understand the feelings, that understand the emotions and the reactions.
And the jokes.
And the jokes. Yeah, Jim and I have a joke repertoire that that spans across the Air Force and the Army. And I know, contrary to popular belief, I don't hate Jim because of his ASVAB score. So let's talk a little bit. So Air Force veteran, what did you do in the Air Force and how long?
I'm a combat engineer. I was in 8 years, and most of the time I was in a unit called Red Horse. We deployed a lot, and basically we built from the ground up, did heavy equipment and things like that. I got my eligibility for the VFW through going to Bosnia, Kosovo, Albania, Saudi Arabia, and Korea. And I think that's all, but yeah.
That's all. Yeah, that's all. You probably, that's quite a bit, actually. That's, you'd seem to have more of a deployment operational tempo that was a lot more intense than you usually hear. For how many years active duty?
8 years. Yeah.
8 years. 8 years with all of those deployments. That's a pretty heavy operational tempo.
Yeah, and those are just my eligibility deployments. I also did a lot of other traveling. I was gone probably good 8 or 9, 10 months every year out of the 8 years I was in.
That's a lot of travel. That's hard on the family, I'm sure.
Most definitely.
Huge on the family. That's well, I'll tell you, I only had a couple of deployments myself, but one right after another, that really takes a toll on the family. So now you're out and in the VFW. Tell us a little bit. How did you? You're a district commander. You're a post commander. You're a district commander. So you were leading. You rose through the chairs in each of those elements. And congratulations, by the way. Your district was number one, or district is number one. You were the first one to reach 100%, weren't you, or the second?
Well, seeing that we have to go off percentage, Comrade Manzer actually beat me to 100%. But yeah, we'll go there.
Yeah, and we'll
be nice on here.
We'll have Jim on here, Jim Manser from District 16.
Jim Manser.
Yes. Yeah. See, Jim, you're getting your accolades from Jim Brown. That's great. Well, congratulations on being 100%. I know that you're also going to be. Your district is also going to be All-American district as well.
Correct. And my district did very well this year. I have 18 out of my 22 posts at or above 100%. And the other 4, one needs 6, one needs 8, one needs 9, and one needs 12. So I'm really pushing them right to the last day of the month. And I'll continue pushing them in, next year as well, even though I won't be a district commander because, like I always say, numbers matter when it comes to membership and when it comes to, helping me out on the Hill. So
yeah, absolutely. And we're going to talk about, great segue. We're going to talk about that next. Obviously, as the National Legislative Chairman for the Department of Pennsylvania, critical job as as you go on to Capitol Hill and you're fighting for. You're fighting for literally those veterans and meeting with Congress people. I'll let you explain what you do, but tell us a little bit about how you got into the legislative because you told me that wasn't your gig, and it was kind of a neat way that you entered into there and what you do on Capitol Hill and the importance of that work.
All right. Well, contrary to belief of many, I have very high anxieties. Talking to and in front of people. However, past State Commander Wayne Perry, pulled me aside one day. He's like, "I'd really like you to try this." I said, "I don't know, Wayne. I think you're barking up the wrong tree." But long story short, it's a passion. It's something that came natural, and I might be a little biased, but I think it's probably the most honorable position in the VFW because, like you said, that we do legislation for veterans, but that's not it. That's not the total. We do veterans family legislation, and that's extremely important because a lot of people think, oh, we're just worried about the veteran. No, we're worried about the family members as well because those family members help take care of the veterans.
Yeah, no doubt. Tell us about some recent wins that you helped. That you helped with the Congress, influenced the Congress on those. Some recent wins for veterans in the VFW, that legislation that you'd worked on.
Sure. Because you're going to put me on point because I don't have any paperwork with me. But
no, just in general topics. That's cool. We're not going to hold you to the bill numbers, Jim.
Yeah, the bill numbers. But,
0.
But no, the Blue Water Navy bill was with just in the last 3 years we've had some really good ones come through. They're all too late. We all know that. Our poor Vietnam veterans, the ones that are still with us that are suffering, and then the ones that have gone on to the higher ground that are no longer with us. Agent Orange is terrible, and it's a nightmare. It's going to continue to be a nightmare. But, we've got the Blue Water Navy bill passed. We've got what's called the widow tax passed, which again, I was talking about family members.
Sure.
So when that'll help take care of the widow after, without going into great details, it helps take care of that widow properly after the member passes. We've also got some female directed comrade legislation that's gone through, something that's very, very huge. I would encourage everybody to look up what's called the Deborah Sampson Act. And since the day that I started on legislation, that was one of the biggest things and I pushed hard for it, and it finally got passed just late last year, I believe. And it deals strictly with our female comrades. So.
Yeah, biggest earlier in the show, I had mentioned the biggest and largest demographic in the military, right? Or women. Melody Price was here from District 30 talking about women in the military and their challenges, right? Their challenges. And I asked her a lot about her experience also in the VFW, and did it mirror some of those attitudes and, some of those kind of, approaches, towards women and stuff like that. So she had talked about that. I really, there's you hear about all of this PACT Act, right? Pass the PACT Act and stuff like that.
Correct.
Can you give the listeners and interviewers just a little bit about what that is and the critical importance? We hear so much about that in the media lately.
Okay. Yeah, not a problem. If you hear anything from me today, this is the most important, not the most important, but it's all important, and I want you to be aware of that. However, this is the highest priority that the VFW is pushing for. Legislation is toxic exposures. And what John was mentioning is the Honoring Our PACT Act. It's HR 3967.
He does remember numbers.
I know that one. Believe me, I know that
There's
one.
that AdsFab score coming through again.
But anyways, HR's 3967, the Honoring Our PACT Act. It was passed by the Congress back in beginning of March when we were actually on Zoom meetings with Capitol Hill. And so that was a huge, thing for us moving forward. However, now it's sitting in front of the Senate. All right. And it's kind of stalled there a little bit. Not stalled, I should say. We have a lot of senators that aren't really wanting to back it. Okay. And what HR 3967 is, it is a comprehensive toxic exposure bill, and it'll help veterans of all eras, all wars, all branches, whether you're deployed overseas or even stateside. If you're exposed to toxins, it's going to cover presumptions and stuff like that. And that's what we're trying to look at as a comprehensive bill for everything, instead of going into the whole Agent Orange nightmare that we're living right now. We don't want to do that to our younger veterans. We didn't want it to happen to our elder veterans. Can I use elder? Hope I don't offend anybody. I don't know what to say. But
we'll get that out during editing.
No. Our veterans that came before us, it should have never happened to them. And we want to make sure it doesn't happen to the veterans now and the veterans moving forward. We want to make sure there's a comprehensive bill to take care of everybody so that we don't have to go back and piecemeal. Hey, can we have this? Hey, can we have this? If we have that comprehensive bill, it'll cover these things. And right now we have our two senators in Pennsylvania. Senator Casey, I think, is kind of on board, but I think he needs a little persuasion still. Senator Toomey is not on board. And we've had some, not a lot. Don't get me wrong, they've done a lot for veterans. However, lately, a lot of the bills, they haven't been backing the ones that the VFW would like. And this one, we really need them to get on board. So if you have any way to contact your Senator Toomey and Casey, by all means, blow up their email addresses, blow up their phones, their home offices, and all that. Any way you can get a hold of them. Let them know that you as veterans want to pass the PACT Act. You as veteran families want to pass the PACT Act. You as any person out there that cares about veterans. And and their families, you want them to pass the PACT Act.
Yeah, and that's a good, my next, leads into my next point is that, we do have a fair number of non-veterans, maybe family members that also watch the show, and we appreciate you watching and listening, or just people that are non-veterans that want to support veterans. What's a good way, when we talk about, we'll talk a little bit about notifications and how you can get on Action Corps. I wanted to talk a little bit about that, the importance of doing that, and how especially non-veterans, right, that can be on Action Corps, a little bit about that, how they can help support these acts too by letting their Congress people know, especially their senators, these are important issues, right, because veterans have families and families have veterans. Many of them have veterans in the families. So a little bit about that.
Sure. Normally I would beat on the podium, and I'm not going to do that to your table.
Right.
But
we appreciate that.
Yeah. Action Corps is the VFW Action Corps is your one-stop shop to what we're dealing with on a weekly basis as far as legislation goes on Capitol Hill, whether it be with the Senate or the Congress. And what it is you could sign up for it. Right now you could go to, I'm going to give you a real quick rundown. There's a QR code, but I don't have it to show you. So you can go to vfw.org. If you scroll to the bottom, you click on the word advocacy, and then it'll show another screen, and you scroll down a little bit. There's a picture of the Capitol building. You click on that, and you scroll down a little bit more, and you click on the banner that says Action Corps. It's about a 2 to 5 minute process, depending on how quick your fingers are and how computer savvy you are, I guess. And and whether you know your email address. That's always helpful because you need an email address. But Action Corps allows you to, like I said, see everything that not everything, but what we're working on a weekly basis. And it also gives you a POW MIA update every week as well, which is very important, because we want to make sure our POWs, MIAs are fully accounted for, and
not forgotten.
We will never ever stop searching until everybody is accounted for. So that gives you an update, and it's very valuable. And what you do is, this is not only for VFW members, okay? This is for VFW members. This is for auxiliary members. This is for any veteran, any non-veteran. If you are 18 years of age, voting age, that's what matters. If you are of voting age and still breathing, you can sign up for Action Corps and help veterans and help their families.
And Action Corps, and of course I've been a member ever since I ran into Jim. I've been an Action Corps member, and I tell you. But I learned a few things about Action Corps. So I like the alerts when something a bill had come out or something like that. You can actually, with one button click, you could actually send the electronic letter directly to your congressperson, because they know based on your address who that congressperson is. It could send right to the congressperson and let them know exactly where you stand, on that particular bill. And I didn't know that. We were talking yesterday evening when we were at dinner, and Jim had mentioned, he says you can actually go in there once every 24 hours and really poke them.
Yeah. So basically, I'm going to backtrack a few years, I'm guessing about 6 years ago. I can't remember the exact year, but we were in Kansas City at a national convention, and the national commander at the time, he's like, "Oh, wait, everybody stop, pull out your cell phones." We're like, "Well, what the heck's going on here?" And we all got an action alert for a bill that was going to be shot down. Okay. So here we are, got thousands upon thousands of people at the national convention, plus it's being televised live.
Wow.
So we got people around the world watching us live. Everybody stops, pulls out their phone, and that bill got passed instead of getting shot down.
Amazing.
Because these action alerts, they work. And that's not only signing up for Action Corps, that's the first step. Responding to the alerts is the big thing. And like you said, you can go in every 24 hours. I'm bad. I just found this out about a month ago. I didn't realize you could do this every 24 hours. But you can go in every 24 hours on VFW.org. And the first thing up there right now is an action alert banner. And you just hit a button that says submit. And it's an auto-filled thing to whether it's a Senate bill or a House bill, depending on what's going on at that time. Right now, it's the PACT Act, and that's going to go directly to Senator Toomey and Senator Casey in the state of Pennsylvania. Obviously, if you're in a different department, state, or whatever, you want to do those as well, because this is for everybody in the world, and we need your help. And the action alerts is what helps me in my cohort. Rich Cassie, who unfortunately he isn't here. Too bad he wasn't here. He could talk. Yeah. But now Rich is a good dude, we need your help. It's not a 2-person job. It is a family job. We are a family, and we need your help in the family to help us out on the Hill.
Absolutely. And for those of you that even veterans and non-veterans, anybody over 18 years of age and over can help. Register for Action Corps if you're a supporter of the military and veterans. This is a great way to get involved. It does work as you've just let us know, especially when these bills are coming up. You're right, the politicians, and because there's only 2 things they know, right? When you go to Capitol Hill, what are the 2 things they ask you?
Number of people voting and how much money is it going to cost me?
Yeah, and that's that's right. Right. That seems to be the trend.
But the sad thing is, a dollar amount should never come out of their mouth, and when it does, believe me, they don't like my response because I'm very stern with them. I'm very respectful because of their office they hold, because they deserve the respect of that office, and but I'm very stern, and a dollar amount should never come in place. Indeed. They send us around the world. And they don't care. Well, they do care about the dollars then too, but they send us around the world. They need to take care of us when we come back. It's just that plain and simple.
Yeah, I completely agree. Right. It's honoring and doing what they said they would do, especially with right. I think I'm going to do a series or maybe an episode entitled "My Recruiter Lied to Me." I think we probably have some interesting stories.
Yeah, I think you'd have a pretty long line at your door here, John.
Yeah, I got the guests for the next year lined up, right? Yeah, my recruiter lied to me. Well, this is good. So the last kind of thing I wanted to go about, and of course, I wanted to talk to you about. It's public knowledge now, is that you're going to be a candidate for the high office of Junior Vice Commander, and he didn't know this was coming. You're going to be a candidate for the Junior Vice Commander of the Department of Pennsylvania. I've always appreciated your perspective on things and the way you look at things, and especially in the way that the organization is evolving and what we're doing, and the younger veterans we're trying to attract. So I'm going to be you hear her first on Pennsylvania Veterans Forward, Jim Brown. So he's tell us a little bit about the platform, Jim.
All right. Well, thank you again for putting me on the spot.
You can count on me.
Yeah, right, buddy. Thanks. First and foremost, when I do come out with my motto, John has already taken a little portion of it. I'm not going to tell you which portion he took, but yeah, I have a motto already in mind. I am coming out for Junior Vice Commander of the Department of Pennsylvania. Indeed. In 24-25. So I really look forward to it. I think that I have a vision moving forward to take what has worked in the past, because we can't forget about the past, what has worked, but we also got to remember that some of those things that work can oftentimes be tweaked a little bit to work a little bit better. And we also have to keep in mind that moving forward, we live in a totally different world now than we did 20, 30, even 5, 10 years ago. So we have to adapt to the changes that we live in. Myself, I'm having trouble with some of the adaptations as well. But, and I'm, in all cases, I'm fairly young for most of the members that are active in the VFW. And what we need to do is not, you always hear we want younger veterans, and we do, but we also want older veterans, we want all veterans. We want the entire family to come together again. And until we get the entire combat family together, we should never stop looking for our brothers and sisters. So yeah, we want to move into the future and start looking at things that attract the younger population of veterans. And a big push and a big start is to stop forgetting about our female veterans. There are so many female veterans out
Indeed.
there that just get overlooked. They're like, oh, they come in walking into a building with their husband. They're like, people approach the husband and
Yeah.
what is that? Can I say pissed off? They get pissed off, you know? I'm going to say it anyway, because it's the truth. It's very degrading. It happens. And I'm not going to lie. I'm not innocent. I've done it. You know, I think we've all done it. We need to be more cognizant of the fact that, like you said, the female veteran population is the highest moving population in the military right now. You know, it's growing, and we need to ensure that we are focusing on all veterans, you know, no matter their age, their era, their gender. We have to make sure we're talking to everybody as though they were a veteran until we find out that they're not. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I know that you and I have talked, it's say, you know, in our VFWs, especially those that have canteens, when people come into the canteen, you know, your servers, whoever behind the canteen, the serving, that's your first line of contact. That could be a veteran in, you know, that is eligible to join. Right. Lastly, Jim, what would you say to veterans that are currently struggling that would be eligible veterans that may not be yet part of our ranks? What would you encourage them to do?
I mean, I encourage all veterans, not just the ones that are VFW eligible, all veterans and their family members. If you're struggling in any way, shape, or form, find your local VFW, reach out to them. There are ways that the VFWs can help you. And if for some reason that VFW may not be financially or adequate in any way to help you, you know, maybe they can give you another VFW that may be able to help you that's somewhat local. We have the funds out there. We have the connections out there to help you. You know, we work with other organizations as well to get you assistance. And don't be in it alone. We are all in this together. We need to stick together like we did when we were in the holes. You know, I mean, yeah. if you were alone in the hole, you probably didn't come home.
Yeah.
You know,
for sure.
If you had your sisters and your brothers in the hole with you, you had a better chance of coming home. So come to the home with us and be part of our family. And I emphasize it when I'm outgoing district commander, but when I go to meetings, I emphasize we are a family. Let's act like a family. Yeah, we're going to squabble. All families squabble. But I always say family first. You have a biological family, and you have your VFW and auxiliary family, and that's. I know you had Tammy Hunter on here earlier. That's a family.
Oh, right.
If you can't utilize your auxiliary, you know, they're there for you. Use them, and that's another great asset in your VFW that can help these veterans that are struggling.
Yeah, you know, I always, our VFW auxiliary partners, I use the term, and it's a military term, and some of you will probably out there recognize it as well. They're force multipliers.
Yes.
And we're force multipliers for each organization. We help, you know, for every one veteran, they have 13 eligible
I believe so, yes.
people. It's incredible. And, of course, those that join the auxiliary too, encourage their veteran, if they're not yet a member of the VFW, to go ahead and come and be part of our ranks as well. So I will have all of the QR code, which is nice. I might even have we may even have a surprise meme with Jim asking those to sign up for Action Corps. So we'll have that. We'll have that all in the links in the description of the podcast itself, or if you're watching on YouTube or any of the other platforms, Google Podcasts, we'll have those in the descriptions as well.
And,
Jim?
And I will say, if you need me to come, I'm willing to travel and talk to people, as well as my cohort, Rich, to come out and talk legislation around the state. I don't know if the state will allow us to leave the state, but we might, if you're listening outside the PA lines.
We do. We have some listeners outside PA lines.
Well, welcome to PA Podcast, or whatever, Forward. Yes. Veterans Forward. Yes.
Pennsylvania Veterans Forward. He got it.
Yeah.
He got it. He's
it took
keen.
me a couple tries, but yeah. So, I mean, Rich and I would love to come around and talk legislation. Believe me, I could do it for hours. I will not do that to you, because when I start spitting numbers and stuff like that at you, you might get bored and want a pillow. But as important as it is, it would put me to sleep as well.
There are dry materials in all disciplines, right? Yeah.
Correct. But I mean, reach out to us. John can put my email. You can put my email address on the link as well, and reach out to me. Even if it's just a question, I'm more than happy to get you an answer. If I don't have it, I will do my darnest to find it for you. And I swear I will do that. Yes.
And Jim does easy. He's a man of his word. I can assure you. We've traded emails at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning as well, when we both couldn't sleep. Right. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Jim, for being here.
Oh, my pleasure.
Jim Brown, National Legislative Chairman, outgoing All-American District 28 Commander. What an incredible achievement for you and the posts in your district. Thank you for being out there. Thank you for fighting for veterans every day. And just thank you for what you do all around. Congratulations again, brother. Well done. Okay, our next guest here, the woman of the day, Valerie DeCorte, president of the Pennsylvania State Auxiliary of the VFW. Welcome to the show, Madam President.
Well, thank you very much, John, for having me here. And I consider it a great honor to be able to sit with you and have a conversation about our organization.
Awesome. Well, first of all, I want to congratulate you on your election and being elected the state president. I know it's been a few years. I know on the auxiliary side, there's a little bit longer of a mentorship, right? I think it's 5 years, 5 or 6 years.
Yes, I have been in the chairs now for 5 years, and my year as president will be considered my 6th year. So I've had some very intensive mentoring. I have been encouraged. I have been guided. And right now, I think I'm ready to lead.
That's fantastic. And you have a wonderful commander. We just had Commander Henry Mannella on the show, and he is excited. He's also excited to work with you as well. And I've gotten to know you over the couple of years as well, and working some membership events and things like that. So on the auxiliary side, have you selected a motto or a theme for your particular year?
Yes, I have. My theme for this year will be respect, honor, remember.
Those are great. And for for our listeners, we have veteran and non-veteran listeners as well. And we do have a significant number of auxiliary members or potential members who would become auxiliary members. Why did you select those particular 3 characteristics?
Those are 3 very powerful words, in my opinion. I'm asking each of us to respect not only our veterans, but to respect one another as members.
Yeah, that's really important. We have the no higher honor than to serve others in a capacity, in a human capacity, and respect is at the top, is at the paramount of the way that we interact and we treat each other. So that's wonderful. Let's talk a little bit about how you became engaged with the VFW Auxiliary and kind of your background and how you qualified for the organization as well.
Well, now that's a very interesting story that I don't normally repeat too often, but this is a special occasion, so I will share. I joined the VFW Auxiliary under the eligibility of my late husband. My husband was a Vietnam veteran, and he spent 26 years in the Army. And one day when I was approaching retirement age, he said to me, I really would like you to join the VFW Auxiliary. He says, I think you could really do some good there. He says, plus it'll keep you occupied in your retirement. Mm-hmm. I says, well, those are good points. And I says, I'll think about it. And so I did. I was thinking about it. I took no action. Then the next thing I know, what appears on the dining room table is a application to join the VFW Auxiliary, which I did nothing with. I let it lay there. And I'll be darned if that man didn't come back and sweeten the pot one more time. He says, okay, I'll pay for your life membership if you'll join.
Oh, my.
So, those were the right words.
Awesome. Awesome.
So I joined under the eligibility of my Vietnam veteran husband.
That's a great story, and that really is. So glad you became a member of the organization, especially now rising through the post president, then a district president, and on through the line officers of the auxiliary organization, and here you are today as president of the state of Pennsylvania Auxiliary.
Well, thank you very much, John. I look forward to being able to move our organization forward. Some of the ways that I'm hoping to be able to do that is through technology. I have created a technology committee and asked them to look at freshening our website, make it more accurately reflect on who we are and what we do. Also, we're looking at some really convenient and cool mobile apps for on our phone.
Nice.
So we're looking, we're hoping to move forward with that. So we have a few changes that, will be coming, and I think they're going to be well received.
That's great. I've said a number of times that the VFW Auxiliary really seems to have a handle on communications, which I do appreciate, especially being in broadcasting. You all have a really great way, I think, of reaching out and reaching out to new eligible members. I'm going to talk a little bit about, Madam President, the VFW Auxiliary and what it means to you, and what you would say to potential members that would be joining. So, for every eligible veteran, combat veteran that's eligible to join the VFW, which is a precursor to membership in the auxiliary, right?
That is correct.
You have 13 eligible family members. Talk a little bit about that.
I hate to disagree with you, John, but we have 12 family members.
12, okay. I stand correct. Thank you very much, Madam President.
You can edit that out if you'd like. Okay.
I certainly will. Thank you. Okay. I hate being wrong, but, maybe in this case it's a good thing.
Well, but there's 12 eligible family members on our eligible veteran. One of the things I say to potential new members is, one of the ways to honor that veteran who established his or her eligibility for you is to join our organization, because our organization's members, our mission is to serve our veterans, our communities, and their families, and not in any specific order. Basically, we do that in the order of need.
Got it. Yeah, the auxiliary organization is always, and we talked. I had the commander, the state commander, and some others on there as well. Is that each of our organizations is a force multiplier for each other. So it's 12-1, right? 12-1, but every member counts. Whether it's in your organization, whether it's in the auxiliary or the VFW, every member counts, and also. The VFW has really done, the auxiliary, for that fact, has done a fantastic job on membership, new membership, and then gaining members or retaining members, which hopefully this year on the VFW side, we do a lot better job of.
The auxiliary has been very successful in membership. For the last few years, we successively have achieved 100% plus in membership. Our retention rate for retaining our members is at 89%. Currently, we are sitting at 102% in membership. And one of the things that I think is very, very important is the national VFW's Commander-in-Chief's membership theme is Every Member Counts.
Indeed.
I was fortunate enough that I established my membership theme for Pennsylvania as Every Member Matters.
Absolutely. What a great synergy between those two messages. Veterans matter, veterans' families matter, and whether it's the VFW, the VFW's motto, as you know, is no one does more for veterans. The VFW Auxiliaries, motto of, I'm trying to think of the Auxiliaries motto in something unwavering support for
uncommon heroes.
For uncommon heroes, yes, yes, that's fantastic. I really like that particular motto quite a bit, actually. So this is any special shout outs to family or people you want to recognize and helping make your run up to the presidency for the VFW Auxiliary that you'd like to acknowledge?
I didn't get here alone, okay? Without the encouragement and guidance of many people, some who are no longer with me today, and some who are still there by my side, continuing to mentor me and guide me, keeping me going forward and in the right direction at all times. To those that are no longer with me, I do what I do in their memory.
That's a fantastic message. Absolutely fantastic message. If you are a veteran, if you're a veteran or a non-veteran that has a combat member of your family that is a combat veteran, please consider joining the Auxiliary. A great way to remember that veteran or support those veterans, whether they're living or not. Great organization in the VFW Auxiliary and the support organization. You really, really are a wonderful organization, and I'll tell you, I really enjoy working with you and looking forward to working with your line officers this year.
Well, thank you very much, John. And one final comment I'd like to make is I know the VFW loves to say that no one does more for veterans. What I love to say is no one does better than the VFW Auxiliary.
That's an awesome. That's great. Madam President, congratulations on your election and being elected the Madam President of the best auxiliary department in the system. Congratulations again. Ladies and gentlemen, again, what a wonderful time we've had. All right, veterans, fans, friends, the interview we've all been waiting for here at the 2022 Pennsylvania State Convention for the Veterans of Foreign Wars Department of Pennsylvania. I am here and honored to have on the show the brand new commander as of today, Henry Mannella. Welcome, Commander, to the show.
Thank you, John.
It is really great to have you. Congratulations on your election and being elected. Well, I'm a little biased, but what I think is the best department in the entire Veterans of Foreign War system.
I thank you, John. I totally agree. We set the standard in Pennsylvania.
We do, especially in Pittsburgh, right?
Yeah. No, actually, in Pittsburgh, there's a saying: "The standard is the standard."
The standard is the standard. Awesome. Well, congratulations. Really great achievement in your life. I'm sure today has been a whirlwind for you, and we were all really excited to see you get sworn in today as the VFW State Commander. So today what I want to do is I just wanted to, other viewers, we have a lot of non-veterans as well as veterans viewers here on Pennsylvania Veterans Forward. And we wanted to talk about, get to know your state commander. Who are you? What are you about? How did you get involved in the VFW? Well, first of all, you're in the right branch, the Army, right?
Yes, John.
That's right.
The only one.
The only one, the first branch. Exactly. So tell us a little bit about your qualifier and how you got involved with the VFW and rose to the rank of state commander.
Actually, my involvement in the VFW actually started when I was about 4 years old. My grandfather was the post commander of 191 in Cannonsburg. So being like a little kid, I'd go get in trouble when I was down there. But what always made me intrigued to the VFW is every 4th of July, Cannonsburg would have a big parade, and I'd always look forward to that as a little kid. And then in 2004 and 5, my travel agent sent me to Iraq. I was stationed at Camp Bucca, so for about 15 months, and that was my first qualifier to the VFW. And then in 2009, another travel agent sent me back over there.
You have that same crappy travel agent that I did, right?
Yes.
It's yeah, right. They sent you all. You asked for Hawaii and you ended up with Iraq.
Yeah.
That's yeah, exactly. How long have you been now in the VFW?
About, say, 15 years.
15 years, and you've come up. I assume that you've come up through the ranks as a post commander, a district commander, and through the chairs on the line officers as a state line officer.
Yes, I was post commander 1810. Then I was district commander of 29, which is all of Allegheny County. And then for 5 years, I was a state membership chairman, the job that you currently have now.
It is, and I got to tell you, you did a great job as a membership chairman, including 1 year of the 100%. So you've also taught me a lot about the job as well. Well, that's fantastic, and each commander has basically 3 characteristics that they want for their year, right? A motto per se. What are your 3?
Honor, service, and mentorship.
And explain what those are, if you would, to you, why you chose those.
In the VFW, I feel that we do a great job of honoring our deceased comrades. We do a great job of servicing our current comrades. But where I think we need to concentrate more on to the younger veterans is mentorship, because a lot of times, and this has just happened, where a young veteran goes into the post, goes one meeting, and in the second meeting, oh, you're post commander. How's a younger veteran supposed to be a post commander of a post? And just with all the programs and everything else, it's just, we want to teach him the right and correct way according to our bylaws. Yeah,
without a doubt. And, bringing those younger veterans in, training them, mentoring them, don't throw them in leadership opportunities right away, right? Because, they've got to learn the organization. It took you, like me, it probably took you a good 4 or 5 years to learn the organization.
Yes, I had great mentors along the way, though.
Great. Any particular ones you want to mention?
A gentleman that's no longer with us. He was a past commander-in-chief, Big John Bajetsky. He taught me a lot, and he's looking down above us right now. I know he was smiling ear to ear.
Yeah. Big John was a staple around Pennsylvania, right? Past national commander as well. What brought you specifically to the VFW?
Like I said before, my grandfather, when I was a little kid, just how the veterans take care of one another. That's just like in the service. Anytime Army, Marines, Air Force, Navy, when we're all together, we talk not bad, but we talk to one another. We talk we talk junk on one another. Oh, you dance with Marines. You wear red crayons.
The old trash talking we did from service to service. Yeah.
But what makes it so unique is when it's somebody that was in the military, you don't talk trash. Doesn't matter. We have each other's back.
Always. And I think that's a big part of, I know what I missed after active duty and before I got involved in the VFW. I missed that camaraderie. I missed, the being around people who had like experiences, who were like-minded. And I didn't have that. And you come back into the VFW, not only do you find that, I think, which is a big benefactor of membership, but you have an opportunity, as we all do, to still continue to serve. And I think it's in our DNA as veterans to continue to serve. That's fantastic. Talk a little bit about, Commander, your vision, because you are, you've had over the past 3 years that I've gotten to know you, as a line officer, you have a really unique vision for the VFW, specifically in Pennsylvania. Tell us a couple of it.
Like one thing is our membership. A lot of younger veterans say they don't have the time, But we need to get them into this organization for a couple reasons. One, we need their voice in D.C., Harrisburg, and their local communities. If with our membership, until when we go to D.C., our legislators look at the numbers. Oh, VFW, you got so many numbers. Hey, yeah, we're willing to help you. But if we don't have the numbers, we can't fight for it. Like the PACT Act. Right now, that's what we're fighting for. I mean, we need the numbers. And two, servicing our veterans. That is a key that a lot of veterans don't want to service because, I'm needed. I'm tough. You know what I mean? But that doesn't help you when you get older.
Yeah, that's a good point, Commander. We, as veterans, we're used to solving the problems. We're the ones that we run towards the issues, and we want to problem solve. And it's hard. It's hard. I know it was hard for me. It might have been hard for you and others to ask for some help. You know, when we become the rescue or we become the veteran never wants to become the issue, right? We want to be the problem solvers. But we're all human, and all of us have a point where we're going to need to ask for help. Which brings me to my next point is that you've done a lot of work with veterans. I know you've done specifically with Fisher House.
Correct.
And that is a wonderful, and are you still on the board?
No, I'm not. I was one of the original board members of Friends of the Pittsburgh Fisher House.
And a little bit, I know it's not about Fisher House, but that Fisher House, talk about, I know you're very passionate, and that is your special project this year, right?
Correct.
And talk a little bit about what Fisher House is and the importance about taking care of veterans.
Basically, in a nutshell, the Fisher House is like the Ronald McDonald Home for veterans. When the veteran's getting some type of surgery or treatment, the family doesn't have to worry about a hotel stay. They can stay right across, the one in Pittsburgh, they can stay right across, pretty much in walking distance, where everything's covered, the food, their laundry, everything. So the family can basically focus on their veterans' treatment and getting better.
That's a fantastic, I mean, talk about taking care of veterans. That really lives that motto, right? The Fisher House, the VFW, no one does more for veterans. That really does live that motto as well. Well, this is going to be a busy year, Commander. I know as your membership chairman, we have a ton of events that are for the membership team, very large events, right? We're going to be
correct.
We're going to be in as a matter of fact, one of them we anticipate is going to be in Philadelphia at the Army Navy game. So if that works out, we'll have a good
That's in the works. Yes,
that's in the works now. Commander, when you come in there, are you going to be dressed in any Eagles attire? As some people
negative.
If anything, you may carry a terrible towel with you, right?
Oh, trust me, never leave home without it.
And I'll be assuming you'll be in Army regalia and not Navy.
Go Army, be Navy.
There you go. That's going to be a great. That's going to be a great time. We're looking forward to that as well. There's a lot of big events. We're looking forward to being with you and with the membership team as well at all of these different events. I want to transition just to kind of our final topic is I know you're passionate about helping veterans, especially those that are in need and they're struggling. And you know, you came to the VFW through a long family history, right? A long family lineage to the VFW, right? Through your family. But if you have veterans, like there's a lot of veterans struggling, you know, we're still losing 22 a day, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a veteran suicide. We have a lot of veterans and a lot of non-veteran listeners as well. But specifically for veterans, if they're hurting or they're struggling, what would you say to them about the VFW and what we could do for them?
What we can do is, I encourage all veterans, if they know a veteran struggling, one of their buddies, do a buddy check on him. Just see how he's doing. If he's having a bad day, just 2-minute phone call or whatever. I mean, and if he needs help, go to a service office, go to your local VA. I mean, that's what the VFW is here to provide, help for our veterans.
Absolutely, and that's men and women. So it doesn't matter. We know that female veterans are the largest growing demographic in the veterans community, as well as the largest number of folks that are largest demographic that's in the military as well. So I know you have a tremendous commitment to female veterans. Your own district commander is a female veteran that's been now, this is, I believe, her third year.
Correct.
As district commander and doing things. So really appreciate the commitment to women's veterans as well. Commander, I can't tell you how excited I am and the membership team is for this particular year and what we're all about to do together. I know your family, I've met your family over the couple of years that I've known you. An outstanding family. Any special shout outs to family members, especially now that they're really going to kick it into high gear for support this year?
Basically my wife and my 2 kids, Marie and Antonio. Every step of the way, when we had I called a family meeting. Normally when we call family meetings, someone's in trouble. But this time I laid it out online. I told them what my intentions were and everything. And my wife said to me, I'm behind you 100%. My son at the time, he was like 12. He just wanted his name on his shirt, which I said, it's a little bit more than that. And my daughter kind of took me back a step. She goes, Dad, that is your family. Why would I tell you no? You love when you go with the veterans and everything. That is your family.
That's it. Really is, and they served when you were serving, and they're still serving as well now that you're the state commander.
Correct.
So shout out to all the families, state commander, and all of the line officers, and everybody who makes the VFW work in the Department of Pennsylvania and across the system as well. Commander, I want to thank you for appearing and taking time. I know it's been a whirlwind day, and I know taking just these 10 or 15 minutes out has been. You've had to work that into your schedule. Congratulations again.
Thank you, John.
Yeah, congratulations again on your election. Looking forward to working with you. And on behalf of Commander Mannella, I'll have with your permission to have your contact information in the links in the show. And we'll put people in touch with you if they have questions or concerns. You made a great speech where you'd said, if I can do anything for you and be available, you would be. So I really appreciate that. It really emphasizes and emboldens service before self. So on behalf of everyone here at the State of Pennsylvania 2022 Pennsylvania State Convention of the Veterans of Foreign Wars, I'm John Otte, and we have some other guests tonight. We're going to be broadcasting live from the inaugural or for the installation dinner this evening. So tune in for that. And it's been great. Thank you for watching and listening, and we hope to see you again soon.